Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings to all of you. I, Muhammad Farhan Aqila, along with our college Kamilatus Salsabila, Yulistya Rahma Fitri, and Nurmala Sholikah Rusdi, proudly represent State University of Surabaya, Faculty of Economic and Business, Islamic Economic Study Program. Today, we have the opportunity to share the result of our research, which raised a very relevant topic in the growing context of modern economy, namely customer satisfaction and the potential financial impact of using Shopeepaylater in an Islamic economic perspective. In this research, we have worked hard to dig deeper into the implication of using Shopeepaylater on customer satisfaction while examining the potential financial impact from an Islamic economic perspective. This research is also the result of collaboration between students from the Islamic Economic Study Program with the support and guidance of two our lecturers, Mrs. Maryam Badrul Munir and Mrs. Fira Nurafini. Without wasting any more time, let's get into the result of our interesting research. Thank you all for your attention. Going to the first slide. Since March 6, 2019, PayLater has become a big trend in e-commerce payment tools, especially in markets. Shopee PayLater is an alternative payment method that makes it easy for a user to make purchases by letting them borrow money and pay it back quickly at a later date. There are rules in Islam about how to consume things, and one of them is that people shouldn't be extravagant in their personal or group consumption. One way to manage consumption is to consume within one's purchasing power. This means that one shouldn't spend more on a consumption than they can afford. Customer loyalty is thought to come from making customer happy and giving them good product and service. The later payment method changed the way people buy things, so it's need to take Islamic value into account. For a customer to stay happy, this service need to be clear, fair, and do what customer expect. Therefore, from an Islamic point of view, Shopee PayLater should be used carefully and wisely, making sure that customers are happy and their money is safe. The study goals are to find out how happy customers are with Shopee PayLater and how well loan funds are given by the DSNMUI Fatwa number 177 DSNMUI number 2nd 2019 regarding technologically based financing service based on Sharia principle. The descriptive and quantitative method used in this study include a Likert scale for data collection and multiple linear regression analysis tools for data collection through a questionnaire. A total of 100 people who had used the Shopee Pay Later feature were chosen as a subject for this study. They were students and regular people. From an Islamic point of view, this study hoped to add to what is known about Shopee Pay Later, customer satisfaction, and financial potential. Going to the next slide, we will talk about Shopee Pay Later from Islamic economic point of view. Islam has a particular outlook towards finance and business, teaching principle of ethics and fairness in financial transactions. Along with that, it is important to understand whether the use of Shopee PayLater addresses to this principle and how it can affect customer satisfaction in the context of Islamic economic. This is in accordance with the Quranic proposition Surah Al-Baqarah ayat 188. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. And the meaning was, and let not some of you eat of the wealth of others among yourself by unlawful means, and let not your property be brought before a judge, that you may eat of the wealth of others by way of sin, while you know. And here is an interpretation of this verse in the context of digital transaction. Number one is no fraud. This verse emphasizes that in digital transaction, as in physical transaction, fraud or fraudulent action shall be avoided. The parties involved in the transaction must commit to carrying it out honestly and fairly. Number two, honoring agreement. This verse teaches that agreements that have been made must be honored. In the context of digital transaction, this means that all parties must abide by the terms agreed upon in an electronic contract or agreement. Number three, judge and law. If there is a dispute in a digital transaction, then this first remind that it should be resolved through legal channel. This shows the importance of respecting the laws and regulations that apply in the digital environment. And number four, fairness and reasonableness. The principle of fairness in digital transaction involves respecting the right of all parties involved. This means that no one shall be disadvantaged or unfairly taken advantage of in such transaction. And now, moving to the DSNI MUI, Fatwa MUI number 177, DSN MUI number 2nd 2018, concerning technology-based financing service based on Sharia principle. Information technology-based financing services are permitted, provided that they are in accordance with Sharia principles in which there are no elements of usury, gharar, maisir, tadlis, darar, zulm, and haram. Those responsible for information technology-based financing service activities are the organizer, the recipient of financing, and the provider of financing, which the contract held by the organizer must meet the principle of balance, justice and fairness and in accordance with applicable Sharia laws and regulations, and the use of electronic signature in electronic certificate carried out by the organizer must be carried out on the condition that its validity and authentication are guaranteed in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. And the next slide. Change in people lifestyle continue to increase. This affects change in online consumer in the digital era. According to the Momentum Works Report 2022, in the Southeast Asia region, the e-commerce with the largest GMV or gross merchandise value in 2022 is Shopee, with a total GMV of 48.14% or US 47.9 billion. Therefore, e-commerce cooperate with the fintech companies in providing pay later service to facilitate consumer transaction. As we see, the top rank of the most frequently used pay later service goes to Shopeepaylater with a percentage of 78.4%. Thanks to the implementation of aggressive promos, Shopeepaylater users skyrocket and overthrew several old players in this sector. Moving to the next slide, we will talk about result and discussion. The questionnaire question asked in this study was include a questionnaire on customer satisfaction and convenience behavior towards ShopeePayLater, questionnaire the potential financial impact of ShopeePayLater, and the Islamic Perspective questionnaire on ShopeePayLater. The following are the details of the question, which include: Number 1, customer satisfaction and convenience behavior questionnaire against ShopeePayLater. I'm satisfied using the ShopeePayLater feature. I feel comfortable using the ShopeePayLater feature. I understand how to use the ShopeePayLater feature. I feel satisfaction when using the ShopeePayLater payment method. I will use the ShopeePayLater feature again. The ShopeePayLater feature is easy to understand. By choosing the ShopeePayLater feature, transaction activities in the Shopee application become more practical. The costs incurred by using the ShopeePayLater feature method are more affordable. The ShopeePayLater feature motivates me to keep using it. And the last, I will recommend the ShopeePayLater feature to other users. Number 2, potential financial impact questionnaire on ShopeePayLater. My knowledge of financial management is very important to manage my finance. I understand the financial condition that I have. I make a list of bill payment to avoid bad bill. I made a loan on the ShopeePayLater feature because I was experiencing financial difficulties, and I know how to make financial transaction using ShopeePayLater. Number third is Islamic Perspective Questionnaire on Shopeepaylater. I know the verse of all Al-Quran relate to Shopeepaylater loans. I know the verse of the Quran that prohibit usury. I can distinguish between halal and haram Sharia product well. I can distinguish between halal and haram financial product, and I can read one hadith related to Shopeepaylater. The total of questionnaire question from our research is 20. And also, in our research, we use a questionnaire with a Likert scale. Likert scale itself is a research scale used to measure a person's preference or attitude towards a topic or object of research. The Likert scale consists of several tier answer options, usually from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. One type of Likert scale used in this research is Likert scale 4. The Likert scale 4 consists of our answer option, namely strongly agree, agree and disagree, and strongly disagree. Likert scale 4 is easier for respondent to understand because it only consists of our answer choice. In addition, Likert scale 4 is easier to process because it only consists of our answer choice, making it easier for researchers to calculate and analyze data. Likert scale 4 is also more efficient because it requires less time to be filled in by a respondent, thus allowing researchers to collect data from more respondents at the same time. And Likert scale 4 is more accurate because it allows respondents to provide more specific answer and not get stuck on neutral answer option. Therefore, choosing the right Likert scale is very important to ensure the validity and reliability of the data obtained. And now, moving to the result and discussion slide. In this study, we use the validity test, which is a test that serves to see whether a measuring instrument is valid or invalid. The measuring instrument referred to here is the question in the questionnaire, carried out using the Pearson correlation method, where the result of the validity test can be said to be valid if the criteria are significant value less than 0.05. In our study, the p-value on items 1 to item 20, seen from the significant value 2 tail, is less than alpha 0.05. So the value is the valid. So that the calculation result for the R value of the 95% confidence level or 5% significance can be found based on the number of respondents, which is n. Because n, 101 Pearson correlation result in the table above all question items are valid because the significant value less than the alpha value and the Pearson correlation value is the result of the validity calculation is as many as 20 statements. For the R value, the 95% confidence level or 5% significance can be found based on the number of respondents. Because n 101 Pearson correlation result in the table above all question items are valid because the significant value less than the alpha value and the Pearson correlation value is positive. Furthermore, we also use the reliability test, which is used to measure the consistency of the data or the fixity of the entire questionnaire or research instrument. In our study, the reliability test was measured based on the Cronbunch alpha method. The result of the reliability test in our study are shown by the overall Cronbunch alpha value of each variable in the test is less than 0.60. This shows that each statement used a measuring tool is that the question items in the questionnaire are not reliable. Then, there is a linear regression test and testing autocorrelation with the Durbin-Watson test, which is useful for analyzing data from simple to complex number. The analysis results show the Durbin-Watson test result of 1.784, and this value can be compared with the critical limit of the Darwin-Watson table, namely the DL value of the 1.6357 and the DU value of the 1.7163. So the conclusion of this study is that the Darwin-Watson value is between DL and DU. Therefore, based on this test, there is no strong indication of autocorrelation in the data. And next, multicollinearity test result. It can be concluded that there is no indication of multicollinearity problem in this model. This is stated because all difference inflation factor or VIF is below the limit of 10 and the tolerance value exceeds 0.01, indicating that the predictors in the model do not have a strong linear correlation with each other. As we see, based on the graph from the scatter plot, it can be concluded that there are no signs of heteroscedasticity in the data. This can be seen from the data pattern that doesn't form a certain pattern or groove that indicates heteroscedasticity. Based on the regression test result, it can be concluded that partial regression test, there is no significant influence between the satisfaction variable on the use of Shopeepaylater because the significance value of the t-test is greater than 0.05. In addition, there is also no significant influence between the convenience variable on the use of Shopeepaylater because the significance value of the t-test is also greater than 0.05. This shows that individually, the variables of satisfaction and convenience do not make a significant contribution to the variability in the use of Shopeepaylater. In this slide, this is our proposed or expected impact of writing this article. Number one, people can see the evaluation of the Shopeepaylater feature from an Islamic perspective and ensure that the feature is in accordance with the Islamic principle. Number two, help individuals make the right decision in using Shopeepaylater and other financial product or service. And now, this is our conclusion from our research. Overall, customers are generally satisfied with the features of the Shopeepaylater, find it easy to use, and are motivated to continue using it. They also understand their financial situation and make a list of bill payments to avoid overdue bills while following Islamic principle when using financial product and service to ensure that they are halal in accordance with Sharia. Before this presentation was end, thank you very much for your attention. We're from State University of Surabaya, Faculty of Economic and Business, Islamic Economic Study Program. Would like to express our sincere appreciation to all of you for your time and participation in our presentation. We would also like to thank to our colleges, Kamilatus Salsabila, Yulistya Rahma Fitri, and Nurmala Sholikah Rusdi, as well as our two lecturers, Mrs. Maryam Badrul Munir and Mrs. Fira Nurafini, who have provided invaluable guidance and support in this research. We hope that the result of this research provide new insight and value to the entire community. We are also open to receiving constructive criticism and suggestion for discussion from all of you. Thank you once again, and may we all always have a blessing in our every step. I'm Muhammad Farhan Aqila. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.